everybody, this is Dr. Robert Berger, and today we're going to continue our discussion about breast cancer and other cancers. We're going to go into some mechanisms of action and also chemotherapy, talking about chemo and nutraceuticals, and starting to really get into what we do here. Now, what we have here, since the last show we were speaking about breast cancer. Now this is a breast cancer. This is a cell, a cancer cell that's found in the breast that hasn't metastasized, hasn't gone anywhere. But what you do is you look at this round shape of this. Now that's a spherical, which is very, very indicative of a cancer cell, because a normal cell doesn't have that type of shape. But these cancer cells do. Another thing that's very obvious is you see the dark part here is the nucleus. And the nucleus of a normal cell is probably 1/5 the size of that. So that is very important. Now the nucleus, of course, is where everything takes place as far as division and that type of thing. So you see why a cancer cell would have such a large nucleus. Now the other thing that you see here, which is probably the most important part, is this cell has projections. Now some of them are small, and some of them are very long, as you see. And what it's trying to do, it's trying to move, it's trying to metastasize, it's trying to infiltrate tissue. That's what these things are, they're infiltrating. Remember we said that cancer, if you look at the astrological sign of cancer, it's the crab. And look at that thing. Look at how it almost looks like a crab-like movement. And this is where the ancient people of, we're talking about Egypt, actually knew about cancer, but they didn't have the word, but they called it a crab-like disease that creeps up. And so you see where they're getting this from. So this is very, very indicative of what a typical breast cell cancer, now there's thousands of different lines of cancer cells, but this is just a typical idea of what we're talking about with these projections. Now we have another picture of now this is this is lung cancer. Just wanted to show you the difference here. These are individual cancer cells of the lung. And the surrounding area, this is a vessel. And if you look very carefully, some of these cells have attached themselves already to the epithelium of the vessel, meaning that they're trying to infiltrate. And the other thing that you have to remember, what I said on the last show, was that cancer cells do not hold on to each other very well. They're kind of slippery. And that's another very important part here, because you see these cells, they don't look like they're really together that well. And as a matter of fact, some of these things can break off and actually move through the blood vessels, through other areas, metastasizing. But of course, being lung cancer, being a tumor inside of a lung is bad itself. That's deadly itself. But once again, this just gives you an idea of, this is a electron microscopic view of these kind of cancers. Now, remember, cancer is a disease that if you only have one cell, let's say you've killed every cancer cell, but there's only one left, it can still cause tumors, because the one cell can cause its own progeny. And that's been seen many times, and this is when people go into remission and everything's fine for 3 to 5 years. But what has happened to those renegade cells that have spread to different areas that nobody picks up? All of a sudden something can happen in the body and they start growing. And the sad part about what happens to these type of cells is they are stronger and more resistant now than they were 5 years ago, because what they gained is their own immune system. In other words, they become resistant to the chemotherapeutic agent or the nutraceutical or the combination that you did 5 years ago that worked. It may not work now. And this is very typical of breast cancer, because breast cancer does come back many times after 5 to 7 years. And so this is important to understand. And I just wanted to show a picture of a macrophage, being basically attacking these germs. These are just typical bacteria germs, giving you an idea of why you have to keep your immune system up. Because let's say these germ cells, which are not cancer cells, but let's say they were cancer cells. And let's say there were very few of them. The immune system would recognize this and it would send out these macrophages to attack these things and engulf them, as you see what they're doing. So keeping your immune system, which you're going to be hearing a lot about on these shows, is extremely important. Now, I just wanted to go back to the breast cancer cell, just to tell you that when you have any type of cancer, how it spreads or how it multiplies it's a logarithmic type of function, meaning it's very, very steady. In other words, you have a percent that grows at a time, not numbers. And that's very important because the way a cancer cell forms a tumor, in other words, one will break into two, will break into four, will break, and that's the way it goes. And of course, once again, that is an exponential type of growth. Now, in the next show, we're going to talk about a particular cancer cell, and we're going to show how even if you reduce this cancer cell down to only a cancer tumor only down to a tenth of the amount of cells that it still has enough cells in there to, of course, form another tumor that can be very deadly. So this is why cancer is such a deadly disease. But until then, this is Dr. Robert Berger. Please visit us at drrobertberger.com. Everybody have a great day.